We're about almost at 10 after, Hannah. We can start whenever you're ready.
I'm ready.
You want to go ahead and start?
I'm ready. Yeah. If we can go, like, you will help me to ask this question, and I will try to shortly, because we have many questions. So I will try to be like very straight to the point, because we can talk hours about like one question. So but if you guys interesting to kind of like dive deeper, I do a lot of consulting, and we sell the seeds and giving like consulting for free for the farmers. So it's my passion. My background is farming, and I like to support farmers and see them being successful in farming hemp. So please don't hesitate to ask. My background is farming. I studied at agriculture school. Maybe a little bit about myself before we start. No, I can say.
Please. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. So I finished my graduation on the Agriculture University in the Czech Republic. I'm from Czech Republic. So I studied Agriculture University in Czech Republic. I did thesis about industrial hemp. I graduated in 1999. So since then, I am involved in industrial hemp. I've been leading some NGOs which are focusing on industrial hemp and kind of publicity about all the different uses. And in 2010, I established a company called Hemppoint. And since that, we do distribution of the farming seeds, cultivation in the collaboration with the organic farm here in Sasso, where we based in Czech Republic. And we do also hemp food products. And we started to do horse feed or animal feed product, which is super exciting, because before my university studies, I did a veterinary high school. So I have a big passion for animals, and hemp feed for animals is a good treat. So yeah, so it's a new field where I'm like exploring more. And yeah, so I will probably share here before I forgot in the chat my email. So you can reach me out anytime and ask a question if I said something what you didn't understand or was not enough clear. Just don't hesitate to send me an email and we can jump on the call and discuss further. Yeah, thank you, Mandy. And yeah, so I think we can go ahead with the questions.
So I want to give a shout out really quick. I met Hannah at the World Hemp Expo. I got lucky enough to or she maybe got unlucky enough to be pinned with me. And we recorded her video. She's got a credible presentation over there also. She chose not to do an actual PowerPoint presentation, but that is accessible for the next year. So if you do have questions or want some more in-depth information that we may not cover there, that is also there. And then for those of you that have questions, this is being recorded and we will edit and post, cut up some snippets, but make it available for you guys through different social media channels, on our website, through our Patreon, all different channels. But we're going to continue to do this series every other Thursday for the next few months and specifically asking different topics. Today, we had about 150 questions come in. So Hannah just went through some that she thinks are most frequently asked. I'm going to ask them. If you guys have questions you want to ask, feel free to leave me a chat or Hannah a chat in the box. But I think one of the main questions that we got is, can you talk a little bit about process, the resources and risks of shipping seeds internationally?
Yeah, sure. It's not really difficult process because the seeds what we're shipping from Europe, they are like OECD registered seeds. So they are like approved for international trade of the seeds. So if we're shipping seeds abroad of the European Union, we need to provide the phytosanitary certificate, and every bag of the seeds has the label which kind of certifies the seeds. And there is also the certificate of origin which certify all the batch of the seeds which are packed in the bags. So the original certificate, it's providing also information about the germination and the purity. So basically this is it. There can be different requirements from your like local authorities, like import the seeds in India. It's difficult. When we imported the seeds in Uruguay, there were special requirements for some phytosanitary checks, what we needed to do additionally. But basically to send seeds, for example, to US, it's just phytosanitary document and all the documents what we already have. So not a big deal.
So how do they tell the difference when they are being shipped internationally, the difference between the cannabinoid, you know, the high cannabinoid seeds versus the grain or fiber?
Well, in Europe, we don't really recognize high CBD seeds as seeds for growing because they are not registered as a European certified seeds, and basically anything which is on the European plant variety database, what I can put you the link here in the chat, where are listed all the hemp varieties which are like registered in EU. This can be breeded or multiplied or distributed in European Union or sent abroad. But because high CBD seeds was not really approved in EU or have no independent like 3 years trials to approve their quality, basically this is something what we don't really recognize as seeds for growing.
Okay, so when we talk about ASTM, you're pretty involved with ASTM, and I hear, by the way, Darwin thinks the world of you, both Darwin and Dave, so I'm really excited to talk about this. But what is the process for ASTM and how will it impact the industrial hemp industry?
Yeah, maybe a little bit info for the people who don't know what's ASTM. ASTM is a standardization association or kind of body which providing the standards for different industries. In 2017, they established the committee for cannabis or hemp. Cannabis Committee D37. Everybody can join this committee and become the member and help establish the standards. Nowadays, we started to also work on the sustainable standards for cannabis industry. So we will implement the sustainability kind of like topics in the hemp standards, which is very exciting. I'm very happy to work on that. But basically, ASTM work, it's open for everybody. So if you have some kind of background with standards and you want to help establish the standards for hemp industry, you can join this group. I can also, I will try to always like just send some link so the people can later on like study that a little bit more deeper.
Well, at ASTM, I was talking yesterday, the benefit to being involved here, it really helps protect your IP and your, you know, by helping to set those standards and understanding where they're at. And so it's a huge value add in getting involved, not just for questions.
Yeah, right. And also when we have the standards, we can also better talk to the regulators to help us regulate the industry. Yeah, so this is also another tool. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Is the industrial hemp industry adopting sustainability reporting such as GRI? And what is GRI?
I don't know, this is GRI, and I didn't like really hear about that yet. I've been talking to the Canadian Hemp Association, which is probably the furthest with the standards, and they just start to study the hemp value chain to be able to describe it, all necessary steps to make the standards included the sustainability, and they need to also create the life cycle assessment studies for all these steps. So it's a long way to go. I think it's not such easy to just like say hemp is sustainable and that's it. You need to prove that and you need to study that. So, but it's already started, this process, and we just like need to collect all the data and put it together, which ASTM, it's a great platform for it.
Yes. When in Czech Republic will 1% THC be allowed for plants and products?
Well, this is a great question because we already having in the parliament in Czech Republic the new regulations for the approving that 1% THC hemp plant can be grown in Czech Republic. So hopefully soon they will approve it. We don't know yet, but it's good. It's like there is nobody against that. So like the political party, they kind of like supporting that, and it's already passed through the agriculture committee in the parliament. So it should be approved. There will be second reading probably next week.
It's not very long, not very far away. Talk to me about products. There's a lot of discussion about ready in field versus not. What's your opinion there on readying for different products and in the field or not?
Well, like in the field, it's the easiest things because you don't need to move the product and it's just there and you just like leave it there for 3 weeks and nature makes the reading. And it's probably the cheapest way. In Czech Republic, one company developed some special enzyme that you can spray on the hemp on the field, which does not really pollute the soil, but they helps the reading process speed it up. And also helps in the further processing for like textile, because it was developed by the textile company in Czech Republic, Text called. So there are some chemical readings. Well, I'm not really like fan of any using chemicals in the agriculture if it's not necessary. So yeah, basically the nature reading it's the most easiest and it's working. And there can be like a field reading which is just the autumn. So you leave it on the field for 3 weeks and you turn the straw and so that like kind of like get retted from all the parts, and then you need to dry it well and then you pack it in the bales. But there are also processes that you leave the hemp stand up on the field over the winter, so it gets retted when it's standing up, and then you harvest it in the spring. This way, the hemp does not get much, let's say, like mold, because the hemp can get kind of moldy when it's on the ground. It's like very wet. So my friend from Bohempia company, Tomáš Rohal, who is like kind of advanced guy for hemp textile in Czech Republic, he tried this process and he tried to test the product for textile fiber. But it was just first trial, and he said like there needs to be some improvements there. It wasn't like 100% successful. So but it's also possible. Or you can like leave it on the ground under the snow and do the kind of baling in the spring. There is just important that you need to have also some like good weather to be able to dry the straw before you bale it, because if you bale like wet straw, it gets burnt. So
well, and I know there's a couple of people on the call that have their stocks still standing in their field from last year, and it's just that it's processed and redded just right. Perfect for processing. I had a question just come in, and I'm going to skip to this. It says, we're also pushing 1% here in the UK, 1% THC here in the UK, hopefully new legislation later this year. Interested in hearing Hannah's thoughts on trading carbon credit for hemp, from hemp, also something that we are developing. Can you talk a little bit about the carbon credits?
Yeah, a year ago, we created a group called Hemp the Climate, where we invited like people experienced in the establishing the carbon credits for like plants. There have been carbon credits for developed for let's say like crops which are not like for only for 1 year, like mostly like the trees. And now we're trying to develop the carbon offset program for hemp farmers. This year we do the first kind of like trial or counting with our partners in Spain. So hopefully in like 1 year we will be able to present it, at least some some developed steps on that effort. But it's, as I said, it's a long process. It needs to be counted well to be able to present it, and we just started to work on that. So if you're interested in that, you can like help our join our Hemp the Climate Alliance, and yeah, we can talk maybe about that further under discussion what we're having there with our groups.
So with that being said, I think this is a good transition. There were a couple of questions about Africa specifically. And when we first started talking, you and I had, I guess, discussed in depth some of the programs that you put together and worked on in order to bring hemp and its sustainability into the Czech Republic, right? And the EU. Can you talk a little bit about what that looks like, or some suggestions you have for those that are looking to develop over in Africa, develop the supply chain?
Well, like Africa, it's because like the hemp varieties what we have for fiber and or grain use, was developed mostly in the like Europe, yeah, or China or like Canada, which are the climates which are not really like same as like most of the climates in Africa. So I'm talking some people in Africa and recommending them to start to do the breeding programs, because they need to develop their own varieties which works in their climate. They will be able to grow them there, and they will be suitable for their climate, and they can use for that breeding some varieties from Europe, China, or Canada. Probably European will be the easiest because they are the most stable and easy to get them. But they need to breed them, they need to grow them in their climate to get them adapted, and they need to make sure that they don't get hot because like when hemp is stressed also by the hot climate, it can produce more THC, and we don't want to put any farmers in danger that like some limits get overgrown and the farmer gets in trouble. So we want to make sure that the hemp would be providing the farmers anywhere in the world, even like in Africa, it is enough stable so the farmer does not get in danger. So basically the breeding programs need to be developed in every new region where the hemp going to be grown, especially if it's the region, the different climate that it's in Europe.
There's a couple of questions I was just reading that are pretty similar, talking about the bottleneck in the supply chain for the hemp industry, or what factors do you identify as the greatest barriers? So between the barriers and the bottleneck, can you speak to those a little bit?
Well, like barrier, I wouldn't call it barrier, but it's the biggest challenge for the farmers because like grow hemp, it's not big deal. It's easy. But there comes the harvesting technology, which is challenging because hemp can be grown, hemp cannot be harvested by the wheat combines. If it's like wheat, it's like maybe 1.5 meter tall, and hemp grows like 5 meters. So you need a special machines. And this is a challenge that the farmers have no experience with this machine. They don't know where to get them, or this machine sometimes very costly, especially the machines for dual crop. Like if you want to harvest seeds and fiber in the same time, it costs one machine about like 1 million. So it's a cost. So for American farmers, it's not the cost, because the American farmers has like big farms, like 5,000 hectares. But in Europe, we have small farms with like smaller acreage, and then this cost for a machine, it's pretty high. So maybe the way it's to figure out some kind of cooperatives where like a couple of farmers will share the equipment for harvesting, and they can, like use it all together.
I like it. Okay. Feel free, you guys. I just opened the chat, FYI, so that you can copy the links that Hannah put in for us. I didn't realize that when it's closed, nobody can copy either. So I did open that for you, and I hope that helps a little bit. I have a question about fiber and hemp fiber that's being used. What is the best fiber variety for spinning hemp?
Well, it's hard to say because the variety of hemp is just like one thing which like makes the best spinning property for fiber property. So basically, the quality of the fiber for spinning impacts not only the variety but also the processing, also the like processing after harvest, like the wetting or baling, and then the decortication, and then the time of the harvest, then also the density of the grow. So it's hard to say. I know that the like if you want to look on the like the most powerful like hemp fiber, we find out that the compost, they have very strong fiber, like machines which was able to harvest other varieties like compost, they get them stuck. So very strong fiber, but I'm not also textile engineer. So for me, like knowing like what's the fiber for spinning, it's probably not best to ask me. But keep in mind that it's not only the question of the variety, it's a complex like topic where more things need to be involved to count like what's the best spinning material.
And with that being said, because I know there's a lot of discussion about organic farming, especially going into the textile industry. Do you have any feedback there? And on your farm, are you growing hemp on certified? Is it certified organic?
Sure, it is. Always been.
Yeah.
And this is why I like hemp, because hemp does not really need much like pesticides and herbicides, because it's a very tall crop. So the weeds, if there are some somewhere on the bottom of the plants, they have not really great condition to survive or even like reproduce. So basically hemp sometimes can clean the soil from some weeds, even like the weeds which are kind of like very hard to get out of them. And so this is why we also recommend hemp for like the transition from the conventional farming to the organic farming, because there need to be kind of, you know, before you can become the organic farmer, you need to ask like permit, do some paperwork, and then grow something 2 years without the chemicals, and then you can become the certified organic farmer. So for these 2 years, hemp, it's a good yield. And when we counted actually the economy on the growing hemp in Europe, because there are subsidies which are higher for organic farming than for the conventional farming, and growing hemp, it's same in organic way or conventional way, because it grows great from like organic fertilizers. But because of the higher subsidies, the economy of the hemp in the organic farming, it's much better in Europe, basically, because of, yeah.
I'm curious, and I don't know if anybody knows what subsidies are available. I saw John logged on, and being involved in the Organic Trade Association, what subsidies are available through organic versus traditional. And with that being said, I saw a question that, does organic fertilizer really work?
For hemp, yes. Of course, you need to measure the soil, and if the soil will be like too much like acid, even like you put like a bunch of fertilizers, the hemp will probably not grow great, because hemp does not really like the acid soil. So you need to measure the pH as well. But for my field, I use like only organic fertilizing, like manure, or like juice from worms, or the leftover after like biogas production, the digestate. Always just organic, and always grows well. So,
well, and I know that there's a gentleman on the phone here who has an organic fertilizing mine, Ignimbrite, that is organic. It's mined out of Montana. And so there are a lot of options that are fertilizers that work well with hemp and cannabis. And so if you guys do need help or have other questions about that, don't hesitate to reach out. I just had another question come in, and this isn't on our list, Hannah, but fairly related. It's related to the organic certification. Does European organic certification also easily certify organic by USDA? And if so, what is that process?
Well, if I can explain, like being organic farmer in Europe, you need to pass this like transition 2 years. You need to prove like that you need to do a lot of paperwork about like what you use. You need to keep record of like how you like manage your fields and what you use and when and how much and where do you store it. So it's a long list of questions and like paperwork to be provided. There are like certification body. In Czech Republic, we have 3 independent certification body, so everybody can choose which one they want to work with, and they come to you to certify you every year. So there is like red certification, which costs like €200 every year, and they come to control you, check all the papers, and they expand your certificate for another year. So basically this is it. Some farmers, there are farmers which can grow like organic and conventional, so there it's important that they kind of like don't mix like where they store what, so it kind of need to be divided properly on paper and in practice as well. But hemp is great for organic, so don't worry about like growing hemp organically. It will grow well.
Do you know if there's any kind of partnership with the US, especially when shipping in from Europe into the US, say shipping organic certified product into the United States? Will it be recognized as organic certified, or?
I think it is. Okay. I think like European, I will need to double check. I didn't look to that yet. Okay. Maybe the person who asked me this question, I can just like promise that I can respond by email later. I can check it, but I think it's approved, like that European, like, because there are like European brands coming to US with this like EU certified logo, right, and they are sold in the US market, and they don't need to be rebranded for the USDA like logo. Yeah. So
cool. Okay. Awesome. How do you see or compare today the industrial hemp farming versus growing for CBG as well as the cannabis for THC?
Well, I think as everybody knows here, like there is kind of like big overproduction of the biomass for like CBD or CBG during like last year. Many farmers struggle to sell it, or it's not only problem of the US. We have the same problem in Europe as well. So and it's been like short time when we get to the point that we reach out the overproduction of the biomass, right? From like this cannabinoid biomass. I think that like if we talk about like biomass as a stem, I think there is like much harder to reach out the kind of like overproduction, because hemp biomass from like the stem can be used for so many applications that basically like overproduce these all different uses of the fiber, like textile, paper, right, construction. It's very hard. And in Europe, we still produce hemp for like fiber and all these different uses, and there is still not enough. Like now, it's like February or March, like beginning of March, and there is no hemp sheaves on the market in Europe. It's hard to buy. Like if you want to buy a container of sheaves, it's like hard to get it because it's like everybody's sold out. So I think because the people start to use it, there it's like these bricks companies, so people building houses from that, like companies replacing their fibers, but they importing like jute or like canna from Asia by like local fibers, right? Because they are like pushed by this European Green Deal policy to do like source local. So I think this is like good news for the farmers who kind of like want to do something like on the bigger scale, because also CBD, you know, when you do like big scale, but then there is this problem with the big overproduction. But the hemp straw, you need to do like big scale to be able to supply companies which needs to like change the jute for like hemp. Yeah, so basically there is like hemp company, there is this like auto company Škoda in Czech Republic, and they buying jute for their biocomposites in their cars from Indonesia. And we asked them, do you want to buy hemp? They was like, yeah, can you supply like 2,000, like we recounted, it was like 2,000 hectares. I was like, with 4,000 acres. It was like,
not here.
Yeah, it's ready for one day, hopefully. So the demand of this like big industry where like hemp fiber, it's like required. It's so big that like the overproduction, it's like we have problem to build up the infrastructure to be able to supply. So the problem with the overproduction is probably not coming in a couple of years, you know, like it happened with the CBD. So there I see the difference.
I think this answered a couple of questions. There were a few others that if the bottleneck was fixed and we had the production needed, the volume that we would need to produce is, like you said, 4,000 acres just for one company, right? Yeah. And so we have a lot of room to grow. So with that being said, and moving on from growing to processing, right, or harvesting, can you talk about some of your preferred harvesting equipment or methods?
Well, like harvesting depends for what we want to harvest. Yeah, there are varieties which are not too big, so they can be harvested by the, like for grain, they can be harvested by the wheat combine, like Finola, or the varieties from Canada. They are like wheat, yeah. Easy to harvest by wheat combine. But if you want to do this, like, you know, like dual crop, so you want to harvest like hemp, grain, but you want to still use the stem, yeah, then you need like special combine, because the wheat combine cannot do it. Yeah. We have like experience that like the hemp straw can, you know, turn it somewhere, and by turning and creates the heat, you know, and the heat create the fire. So there was a couple of like harvesters like which was burnt on the hemp fields just because of this experience, like with the strong fiber which turned somewhere on the rotating pieces of the machine. So always, if you do this experience with the wheat harvester, always take your like anti-fire tool with you. Important. And so basically there are like machines like the John Deere, they created with the hemp flax, the machine for tree crop harvesting. Yeah. Then there was another company. I can maybe later send here some links. They did with class, which they do the harvesters for corn. So they replace this for hemp. So you can buy just the header for the machine and kind of like use the machine for corn, what you just adapted for hemp. It's special header. There are machines which are harvesting they are just cutters. So they cut just the fiber on 60 centimeters pieces, which are better to be processed later on, or also like collected from the field. So it's a machine from Lithuania. There are like machines which are kind of just like farmers developed. Yeah, just like it's not difficult to put like 4 cutters up to each other and just like buy some some hydraulic, like manage them. I'm not a machine engineer, but I saw machines made like that just by the farmers. So basically the hemp, it's possible to cut by the double cutter. Yeah, so you need to go have like two knives which go against each other. Not big deal. There is a company like Formation Ag which does the machines in the US. I don't know how much, like there's the New Holland machines which are developing by this big farming equipment company. So yeah, I'm writing some article for the farmers in Czech Republic about the machine, so maybe later on I can publish in English as well.
Yeah, I love it. Well, and you speak quite a bit about that in your presentation. For those of you that weren't on, Hannah did have a presentation with the World Ag Expo that's available. After this, I'm going to send out a follow-up email with the links that she's providing, as well as the link to the video. And I'll include that link for the World Ag Expo for you guys as well. Get some views on there, but you'll have more resources. So we talked about machines for harvesting. What about for the textile industry? What type of machines are necessary for that sector or vertical?
Like for harvesting or for like production?
What kind of machines are necessary for hemp fiber for textile industries?
All right. Well, you need like these, depends like which kind of like textile, if you want to do like the blends with cotton, so you need cottonized fiber, or you need the yarns for like classic fiber, for the classic like fabrics. But basically you need to do like cultivation very intense, the hemp, then the harvesting it like 1 month before the seeds are ready. So when the hemp is still green, where it's the higher percentage of the hemp fiber in the plant, then you need to leave it on the field for, as I said, like 3-4 weeks for the retting process. Then you collect it, then you pass it through the decortication line to separate the sheaves from fiber. And then if you need cottonized fiber, you need to pass it through the cottonized machines to make it shorter, to be able to do the blends with the cotton. Mm-hmm. Or you do the yarns and spinning. So, but basically the traditional process for getting the fiber from the hemp for the textile was the wet retting. Yeah, so you put the hemp straw under the water for 2 weeks. So the microbes in the water make the retting process, kind of wet retting process done. Yeah, but now these processes are not very much environmental friendly, yeah, because it's kind of too much bacteria, and then it stays in the water. So it's kind of prohibited in Europe to do that, or you can have like special plant and special like cleaning station of the water which goes out to kind of like be able to recycle the water or clean it up. But this is the best process for production of the fiber for textile, and they still do it traditionally in Romania. This is the last country in Europe which still has it, and they keep doing this way, no matter of these like environmental damages, because they keep it as a culture, like a treasure of their cultural traditional like industry uses. So they still able to do it, but other countries in Europe, they don't follow this way anymore. So everybody just imports the fiber from China, or the yarns from China. And in China, they prohibited this way of the wet retting as well. So all the hemp, it's now processed in China by chemicals. So it's not anymore this kind of nice natural color, because all it's like bleeding. So it's like all like super white color.
Well, and that's where we take away from our organic, right? I think there's a lot of discussion about what that's going to look like and how to.
Yeah, so there's a big potential for people who kind of like understand the fiber processing, and I think in the US there is a lot of people who understand the kind of cotton processing fiber. Yeah, so maybe they can help develop something on hemp side. I hope so. It would be great. We need that.
Yeah. So when we talk about the progression of the industrial fiber industry, How do you see that supply chain developing?
For the fiber uses, I think
all of the industrial uses.
Like the biggest in Europe, we have the fiber for biocomposites for the automotive industry. It's a big thing. There's a big thing. Hemp goes to the paper industry, where it's good to supply the hemp fiber, which is not very much like clean up, because the paper industry does not need like super clean fiber compared to the automotive industry for the injection models, right? They need like the biocomposites with like super clean short fiber. And there is a big market in Europe developed for the insulation materials. Yeah, because there's this stone mineral like insulations, which are kind of what the people use, but it's not really like custom friendly to use it when you need to install that, and also kind of does not really last long. You need to replace them after 10 years usually. So hemp is better. Hemp lasts longer, has a like better like double insulation quality properties, and so a lot of like companies in Czech Republic, we are like 10 million country people, and we have like 3 companies which do the insulation. So, and all goes export. We don't even like have it on the market. All goes export. So it's very cool that like these companies can survive, and they have to import the straw, yeah, and then export the material and still economic. I don't know how it goes, but probably good for them. They're still good doing it, and they're growing bigger. Yeah, so there are insulation on the roof, and there are insulation which can replace this polystyrene, these like white balls,
yeah.
Which is like you put it on your house, and it's completely like unbreathable house. Yeah, so you have like mold in your house, and you kind of like happy for your heat, but in the mold as well. Yeah, so hemp can be like this polystyrene can be replaced by the insulation from hemp, which has a higher percentage of the sheaths. So it's like harder than this one under the roof, or the kind of replaceable of this like stone mineral insulation. And yeah, so this is a big market. And paper, as I said, it goes mostly for the cigarette paper, yeah, because in the cigars you need to have like very fine like paper, yeah, which is strong, because people does not want to grow, they don't want to smoke paper, they want to smoke like tobacco, yeah. They need like very thin paper and strong. So yeah, so we have in Czech Republic, we have company which buys like 5,000 tons of hemp fiber just for cigarette paper. Yeah, so it's a big demand. And another application for fiber, I don't know, there are these like geotextiles for like the farmers, yeah, like the mulch. So it's developed in France. They do that. They just press the fiber by the like wet pressing, 100% hemp fiber. They press it and they create the mat. Great, I love it. More of that. Very cool, very cool.
We still have a few more questions, but I'm just going to put this out there. We're coming up on about an hour, about 45 minutes, an hour. I'll ask these last few questions I have that we've gotten from you guys if you've registered. I will open it up at the end if you guys want to ask questions or kind of start discussion about something that maybe we touched on but didn't dive into. Just be respectful, not to step on other people. If you want to raise your hand with the icon down at the bottom, we can call on you. I'll make sure to do that. But just know that we will open it up at the end after we're done. So we might just have a couple more questions. When we talk about the major, as the supply chain develops, especially here in the United States, What are the major things that we could do in the US to get the hemp fiber better here than anywhere else?
I don't know, just like focus on that and just like do it, like every year step by step. Yeah, just like bring the right varieties, let the farmer grow it, develop the decortication line, develop the processes of like processing it. Like in China, they do it like last 100 years, so they know how to do it. Even like in Europe, we're still learning that. Yeah, like Thomas Jorhal from Bohemia, he's trying to invent the wheel because like the knowledge of the like processing hemp for fiber was kind of lost.
Mm-hmm.
He destroy all our flax industry, which there was some little knowledge possibly be used also for hemp processing. Because it's similar fiber, but still not the same. Yeah, the flax is small plant compared to hemp. Mm-hmm. So the decortication is different. But if I believe that like US can be like the leader of the fabrics, but you need to really like go for it and like focus on that. And since like there are no even like own varieties for like growing hemp, I have like a lot of inquiries from farmers in the US to grow hemp. And they asking me like how I can recommend European varieties for the latitudes like Texas, but I cannot. Like they have to do the trials and figure it out, like and start the breeding programs, and it's a long way to go. And like with like more people involved, especially from the industries which can do the applications, the experts need to help with those applications. Yes. But so like don't hesitate to work with like probably Chinese on fiber because they really know how to do it, Mm-hmm. Even like chemical bleaching, it's not the best way to go, but or go to Romania. Yeah, there is the last factory which probably get off the business in 10 years because they have no money to just like keep it working. It's like too old, that will get broken and nobody can like keep it running anymore. So yeah, so go there and try to like help those people who still have the know-how to keep it and like maybe replace it to US. Yeah.
Well, you kind of mentioned something in your last
yeah. Sorry, but I will just add India. It's also a lot of like things going on with the hemp fiber in India. They really know how to do it because they have the local hemp. Mm-hmm. And they have like China very, very close. So they doing a lot of like hemp fiber processing in India. So maybe India, it's a good way to go to get some know-how about like hemp fibers.
They're definitely leading a lot of this charge over there with the textile space. Mm-hmm. I had another question for you as we were talking, and of course I can't remember. Let's see, crops. We talked about organic, a couple of questions. I'll just recap. We talked about this a little bit in the beginning, but questions are, must a whole farm need to be certified organic or just the acreage at which the hemp fiber is grown? And I think you mentioned that earlier. To be clear, it's just your acreage where the hemp is grown. Is that right?
No. The farm needs to have like, because you always certified not the crop, but you certify the field. So you need to have like certified field to be able to certify the crop.
Yep.
And the certified crop, certified field needs to be certified after 2 years of like non like putting any chemicals and be applied for the organic farming. So basically the farmers who are like conventional and organic, they deciding, okay, like these fields we keeping organic, this field we want to work like intensive farming, and they don't mix it. Yeah, so they cannot like put hemp on the intensive cultivation when the year before like they put it like chemicals, and because they didn't put chemicals on hemp, they say, oh, it's organic now. It's not like that.
Well, there's
they need to be this transition.
So I remember now what I was going to ask you. In your presentation, when we talked about seeds and breeding, and can you kind of talk about what does that certification process look like? And if I'm going to purchase certified seeds and then turn and sell those seeds, can you talk a little bit about yeah, what does that process look like? How are you buying seeds that are certified compared to how we're doing it here or other people may be doing it? And what does that progression look like? The pros or cons to that process?
Oh, yeah. So in Europe, the registration of the seeds, if I want to register the new cultivar, need to be preferred stable. Then I give like 7, 8, 9 kgs of the seeds to the certification body, which is the government body, which has like this 3 years program of the certification, where first year they do the certificate, like the approving of the morphology stability. And then they do 2 years the kind of approving of the yield, because you registrating the variety, because this variety has high yield of fiber, for example. So then you need to prove that this yield is really higher than the others, or at least like more than like similar high, like the other high yield varieties on the fiber. And you have to prove that it's kind of like somehow unique from the others, you know, that you just didn't like take some variety and you just give it a new name to register it under your company. So they doing this test. They do like tests on I think 4 different plots with 3 different hemp varieties. So they grow your hemp and 3 different hemps cultivars similar to yours to prove that yours is unique and morphology stable. And then if your crop passed 3 years, of course, they also approving that your crop didn't get hot. It's like always under 0.2 limit. So if all goes well, after 3 years, they certify it on the national level. And then if you kind of like submit that you want to have also like registration on the European level, then the agency asks the European Union put it on the European plant variety database list. So, cool. And you pay for it. It's not super costly in Czech Republic, but you pay for it, a couple of thousand, and you have to do it. Like basically you have no other chance to just like, there is the CPO, which is the another body under European Union, but they register the kind of like rights for you, for your variety, but it's not registration which prove that your it's like protection of your IP rights, but it's not registration. So you register that this variety belongs to you, but it does not really approve that the quality it's standardized. It's just the paperwork work. So the CPVO registration is something else, that the registration under the European catalog for being able to sell it in EU.
I like it. And then I think we answered this. I don't know if there are any other questions, but does a farmer have to grow 3 consecutive years or crops on the same acreage before the crop can be qualified organic? And that's yes, I'm assuming yes. Okay, so Hannah, is there anything else you want to add real quick? And I'll open it up for you guys if you want to.
I just like edit. Yeah, I just added this link to these like certified planting seeds, what we offering for the farmers. So if somebody wants them and discuss like for the like cultivation, now is the right time to buy the seeds, you know. So I don't want to like farmers, if they thinking to grow this year, like miss the right time to purchase the seeds. So if you're thinking to do cultivation, please purchase the seeds sooner than later, because the shipment in the COVID, it's like nightmare regards the prices and also timings. So you better order it sooner than later, and we can help you to choose the right variety. And yeah, basically this is what I just wanted to share, that the people kind of don't miss the right time.
Yes.
They don't.
Well, and that's really why. That's why Hannah and I decided to do this today. And then for the next couple of weeks, do a farmer series with different people. I just added, I've got Jeff coming on next week. And then I added the link in here, just so you know, again, reminder, I will be sending out an email at the end with all of these links from Hannah so that you will have them. And then Hannah, if you have anything else you want to add, or I'll open this up for questions, if there are any questions missed, or if you guys would like to jump in, yeah, I would love to do that. I'd love to have you guys do so. I can remove Hannah as a spotlight so that everybody else can.
Maybe you want to share this book, this link I just add to the chat. It's a book called Cannabis and Sustainable Development, what we published for the United Nations. So please just check it out. We did the second edition in Spanish, and we're still waiting for somebody who will be happy to support us and do the English version in the second edition. So you guys very welcome, all the English speakers. If you want to support us, the book is done by this guy called Kenzie Zemoli, and he's the independent researcher. Maybe you heard the story what happened in December, that the WHO recommendation was kind of accepted, and cannabis finally became the medicine worldwide. This is all thanks to this guy, Kenzie Zimole, and Michael Kravitz from American Veterans. And just want to ask you, if you like his work, he's independent researcher. So on his webpage, what I just signed in, it's also like you can send him some little bit money for like his living, because he's the guy who lives just from support of the people. So you're very welcome to keep him working on this important mission, and I will be very happy if somebody, kind of like listen to this call and and help him to live nicely, because he kind of like lives very poorly. Even like he does such a great job, which is like very kind of like, I feel very bad. So well, yeah,
I think that just goes another thing you brought up that was really.
Yeah, there is a lot of work what he still want to do. We like the next step what we want to do is to recognize cannabis on the WHO level as a traditional medicine, because cannabis, coca leaves was already recognized as a traditional medicine. This is why like in Colombia now you can like find a coca leaf tea or whatever like from coca, but like cannabis, it's not recognized worldwide as a traditional medicine. So this is what we want to change, and this is why we need to keep like Kenzie working hard. It has not much to do with farming, but it's just like important mission for all the enthusiast people for cannabis plant, and I hope we can like make this mission complete. Nobody really trusts us that we can change the WHO recommendation and convince them to do this recommendation to the CND. We did that. We was like few bunch of crazy people who was like going there, and with a little bit of funding, we was able to do such a great job. So if you keep us working on this mission, we promise we will make it. Yeah, there's no way, there is no impossible for us, but we still need to live from something. Basically, I have my company. I don't ask for money for myself, but more for Kenzie and Michael. So that's it. Yeah.
Well, and I think that this goes to say taking care of those, you mentioned in your presentation when you and I spoke, really taking care of those people that have preserved these genetics for a long time and who are really doing that work. And I think that that's something that's so dominant within this industry is, self-care and taking care of each other and collaborating. So I will open this up now. You guys are welcome to stay on, ask questions, chime in. I think that I've made it so you can unmute yourselves. Let's see. Yep, you're unmute. You can unmute now. I hope. Let's see. But, or if you want to raise your hand, I can obviously ask questions. But yeah, besides that, I think that we pretty much summed up all of the questions we received from you. I encourage you to keep sending questions in. My goal is, and equally as much for those of you that are on, I would love to have you join or participate in a Q&A or discussion. My goal is to create these frequently asked questions or a platform where we can address frequently asked questions so that you guys can redirect contacts or information back to this video instead of taking so much time answering the same question over and over again. So I open it up for you as well. Lots of different topics. If you have questions that are regularly asked, I'd love to, to bring them up. So I'll open it up to you guys. If you can't ask question, let me know if it's working. I just had one question, it looks like from Susie. Are you able to speak to the different strains and what is good for what type of ailments at a high level?
Okay, guys, let me share you. This is the data sheets I put together. This is like the doc Google Drive Excel sheet. But there are like all the seed varieties we offer with like describing like how much like long, how much long they grow, like what's the purpose of the grow. So probably this is the best for you to check it out, because there are like the varieties usually like can be grown for fiber or seed. Yeah, or they was like breeded for these two purposes. And in this Excel sheet is describe it, which varieties was grown, was breeded for what, and how much like yield you can get, how much yield of biomass you can get, even like levels of the CBD, THC. It's all the information from the breeders. So it's not kind of like my info from my own experience, but this is the information that the breeder provides from their location where they grow and breed the varieties. So of course, also if you take the European varieties to Texas or to Minnesota, maybe they kind of prosper different. So this is why I suggest everybody, please do the trials if you grow in different climate, because basically this is a new era for the plant and need to get a little bit adapted, and also kind of you need to understand like what the plant needs in different climates. So the trials are kind of very needed to be more developed in the US. Or at least like there was like a lot of trials already done, but nobody really like collecting these like data and sharing it, you know. So hopefully some company like New Frontier Data who do the analytics can somehow come up with some good analytics of the data research being already done on the different varieties. Yeah.
Hi, Hannah. This is Drew. How are you? Thanks for talking. I just want to jump in. Is that okay, Mandy? I had a question to kind of follow. Okay, cool. So
absolutely.
At the, and you know, your sales sheet breaks it down into 3 buckets or 3 categories. There's the flower or the cannabinoids as far as the primary production, genetics, there's the seed, and then there's the fiber or the grain, and then the fiber. So as I understand it, on the cannabinoid side is obvious. It just depends on the percentage of cannabinoids primarily. On the fiber side, really you're looking for the between the nodes, the longer the spread, the longer the fiber. And so the fiber genetic is going to be designed to be able to produce those long strand, which is optimal. And then on the seed side, it's optimal to have the genetics produce like a plump grain, a plump seed, to get, you know, a bigger, maybe more oil or more of the heart, more meat. So when you look at dual crop, is it true that a grain genetic will produce maybe not good fiber, but at least good inputs for like construction materials on the bask or the shivs? So it's kind of dual process. Whereas a fiber genetic doesn't necessarily produce good seed. Like, how do you differentiate different inputs?
I will explain. Well, there are the seed genetics which are small, so they basically just like for grain production, because they don't grow enough long to produce fiber. So you just like leave the rest after the combine on the field. Yeah, easy to give it back. But if you grow hemp for grain from these not really like short stem varieties, like Futura, then you need a special combine. But the difference between the quality of the fiber, it's like in the time and the density you grow. When you grow hemp for seeds, you put like maybe like 25 pounds an acre. If you do hemp for fiber, you put like 50 pounds an acre, because you want like really like fine fiber, which is like easy to process. Because if you have like this bunch of like, you know, like in the field, and you want to put them in the decortication line, which has these like teeth, like the rollers, you know, with the teeth against each other, this kind of like tree, it's like hard to break, right? Otherwise, like if you have like very fine like hemp stem, yeah, it's easy to break it and, you know, like shake it out the shafts, and like in the end of the decortication line come the pure fiber, and all the like sheaths just falling down, yeah, with the help of the shakers, which are like it's always part of the rollers, yeah, like I don't know, like 12 rollers against each other. It's the decortication first part, then it's the shakers, they're shaking out, and then there is the rollers again. Yeah, so it's kind of, and then the shakers again. So it's kind of like the basic explanation of the decortication line, but it cannot go such a like big one. So the reason why the Chinese, they put like 120 pounds an acre, because they want to have like super dense hemp, yeah, because they do like this super fiber for like textile, yeah. So more dense you put it, like finer hemp you get, easier to process and like higher quality. And also for hemp fiber, you harvest 1 month before the seeds are ready, because the in the hemp stem, when like the seeds getting ready, also the fiber part getting a little bit like more woody. So the stem, it's like there is a more woody part when you harvesting for seeds than if you harvesting for fiber like 1 month before the seeds are ready. Yeah. So but but the dual crop, if you do the dual crop, so you harvest the hemp for seeds, of course you can like use the hemp for fiber, but probably not the fiber for textile, but still good fiber for insulation, hurts for building, or the bedding, or like the biocomposites, a bunch of, just for, not for textile, just not for textile, but for all the other uses like paper, biocomposites, insulation, all this, it's fine. Just the textile needs like proper, very dense, yeah, like cultivation and harvesting, like in the proper time of that the quality is high. Yeah, that's not too woody and it's like very strong.
There was a good question.
Answer your question. Yeah. Yeah.
There was a good question just now related to this. Sorry, Drew, I didn't mean to cut you off. It says, Hannah, when did flowers come in relation to what you're describing? Thanks for being so helpful. So harvesting earlier.
Flowers are somehow in the middle. Yeah, because when you harvest the flowers, like in Europe, we still harvesting these like European varieties, because this is only we can like grow and harvest for CBD. Yeah, so we grow like this like 3% CBD plants. Yeah, like these all European varieties. Maybe if you're good, it's like you're very lucky. You have like 3%. If you have like 1%, you're still good, not too bad. You know, 2% is like quite good. And it all depends on the climate. Yeah, so it's hard to kind of like manage like CBD percentage on the field. Is basically by the climate. Yeah, and so if the climate is like very bad, yeah, then you have like higher, maybe lower yield, but like higher CBD. And so you basically harvest like months before the seeds are ready, the hemp for fiber. Maybe 14 days before the seeds are ready, the hemp for flowers, because you want like green flowers, right? And then you harvest like hemp seeds when already the flower getting a little bit dry and brown, but this is already too late for harvesting hemp for flowers, because, for example, our company, we use the flowers for tea production, and nobody wants to have in tea something like brown and that, yeah. So this is kind of how we do, or how I learned that process. But of course, like there are like some hemp can be, if you do it just for extraction and you don't mind like the chlorophyll content or something, there are like people who harvesting hemp who using like the leftover after the processing of the hemp seeds, yeah. So they have in the combine some like collector of the leftover around this like collection of the seeds, and they using it for extraction, yeah, because it's just like waste material. It's like better to collect it and do some extraction than like leave it on the field, you know. And like CBD, it's usually the most higher the latest you harvest, yeah. So but just not look so nice like if it's like brown, yeah. But it's still like for like CO2 extraction or the isolate, also depends like what you really want to extract, yeah. You want to do like nice tasty like extract with the terpenes, you know, it's probably not from this brownie material, yeah. But like if you want to do isolate and you just like mining like money and isolating like CBD, you know, it's probably like this brownie stuff the best option, you know. So it's really like this this CBD thing has like the flowers, there's a lot of like options. So it depends really like quality you're doing and like the way you able to do like collect like hemp from this is like the John Deere machine. It's made for that they do harvesting the straw, then the collecting the seeds, and they also collecting, there is the trailer behind the combine, which collects all the green material. After, you know, they kind of separate the seeds, all the green goes like in the bag, and then they dry it for extraction.
Excellent. Anybody else? I see John, you're unmuted. Did you have a question or anything you want to add?
I just wanted to thank you, Mandy, and thank you, Hannah. This is really great information. It's good to know in a way that our farmers are not the same, or, you know, we're just not singled out. We just didn't overproduce too. It happened in Europe. I think the biggest part is, you know, are we going to be at a point where, you know, what would be the best way to have fiber come to Europe from America? How is it best to be prepared? What's the staple length and packaging? How do you see that happening?
Which fiber? Like for which kind of like use?
For textiles, for fabrics.
For fabrics, it usually come in the bales, yeah. But it needs to be like very well like wetted and very well like decorticated, you know. Usually need to be the long, yeah, for spinning, or like well cottonized for like blends with the cotton. Yeah, so it needs to be short.
Should it be 60? Need to be short. You want it short or you would want it long?
Depends. If you want to do the blends with the cotton, yeah, like I have like this sweater or like pants, whatever, like I wear usually, it's like blend, because the people, they don't like hemp, like pure hemp. It's like flax, yeah. It's like kind of like hard fabric. It's get like very like you need to iron it all the time, you know. It's not really like super comfy, yeah. So the blends are the future, yeah. Because the cotton, it's like very, and US is big in cotton, yeah? And there are these cotton farmers, they don't know really if they can still like kind of like keep their business, so they kind of like thinking maybe we can try hemp, yeah? And they are already in textile production. So I believe like these old textile farmers, they can kind of like understand the way of like produce hemp for textile easier than some farmers who never like produce anything for textile production at all, you know, so. Because like they have the connection with the people from textile industry, so they can tell them how to produce it, so they can help them develop the machine to produce it in the requirements they needed. But basically there is like very hard time to produce like the fiber which can be spinning. Even like we don't have much technologies for spinning. There are like 2 spinning capacities in all Europe for like hemp fibers, you know, so it's like not easy. So it's not only a question about the fiber quality, it's also a question about the technology capacities for the line, you know?
Sure.
Yeah, so basically I cannot really answer your question properly. I will need to check the quality and send it to those companies who does that and ask them, this is really the quality of the fiber that you can produce? Because this is not my position. I can answer this question because I don't know what exactly they need the quality. But yeah, but I have this friend from Bohempia, he does the quality of the fabrics. I'm sure like he's trying to find out like around the globe, like people who will help him figure out the textile production. So if you just want to connect with him on the LinkedIn, yeah, it's called Bohempia, the company. Just find him there or through his like webpage, bohempia.com, and he will be happy for your help or kind of like more like developments you plan to do. And maybe like he posting all these developments what he does around the fiber on the LinkedIn. So just try to follow him, and he's the expert on the fiber. He studied the fiber textile university in Czech Republic. I studied agriculture university, so I'm more like with the farmers.
You mean they're not the same? I thought everything was the same in the hemp industry. Just kidding. We just were talking about the Oh, import, export, another question, and I forgot. Sorry about that, guys. Anything else? Would anybody else like to add anything or any questions? I really appreciate everybody getting involved today. I added the link for the future meeting next Thursday. John, I'm not sure why you're on the screen. I enjoy looking at your beautiful mug though, but you're pinned right in the middle. So yeah, anything else? I'll kind of leave it open for you guys to discuss. I'll stay on as long as you want. Yeah, but any other questions? If you have questions for somebody else, I welcome that as well. As far as membership, I know Michelle, I don't know if you have sound today or not, but I'd love to introduce you to our group as we'll be doing some outreach. Hi. So I'd like to introduce Michelle right here, Michelle Staley. She's working with our association as member relations and customer relationships. I'm really passionate about creating a group and a platform that allows you guys to connect with us on a more strategic level instead of showing up to a room with 80 people and everybody has a different intention. Michelle and I are going to be working together. She's going to be reaching out to everybody to touch base, check in. How can we support you? Don't hesitate to lay it on her. I'm curious about advice to improve what we're doing. So if you have feedback, she's a perfect person to tell. You can tell her how much you like or dislike this, and it will not hurt her feelings or mine. And so again, I'm in this for you guys. I'm really excited. I keep getting invites and connections. I actually just had one to Matthew. Matt, thanks for joining. I saw Kevin connected us just a second ago. And so it's always nice hearing, you know, you need to connect with all these different people, or you should. And so I welcome you to also invite people to attend. But yeah, expect Michelle to reach out, expect Michelle to check in every once in a while. Don't hesitate to reach out to her as well. And then, yeah, other than that,
thanks
else?
for the
Oh yeah, I'm excited. If you have anything you'd like to share, feel free, Michelle.
No, other than looking forward to reaching out to everyone, getting to know everyone better, and obviously any input and feedback, looking forward to that. Thank you, Mandy.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really excited to have her support and help. She's a rock star. So great with people, great support. Anything else, Hannah? Go ahead, John.
Oh, just a quick request. The expert from Hannah, if you could put that in the notes or somehow get that to us. I was trying to write down what it was, but it didn't really spell it out. So it's like the name of the company and the person's name. If you could just write that out for us, and that would be great. I'll follow up with them. Absolutely.
And speaking of the textile space, it's probably where we at GHA are the most inquiries that we get are around the textile grade fibers. I do plan to put together a Q&A panel discussion with a few experts from the industry along, across the world, basically, as well as universities to actually start discussing. So we'll do a Q&A type panel, but an actual panel of experts that we'll be able to highlight and bring on. And so look for that as well. And then I'm also going to have Darwin and Dave. Darwin is with the ASTM D37. And Dave is with the GMP Collective to discuss standards on all pieces of this. And so they will also be part of our educational series.
And I added 2 links to the Hemp Today. I work closely with the Hemp Today. It's a online media. And we did a series of articles about how to purchase seeds from Europe and what the farmers need to know. So from there, these 3 articles, I'm sure you will kind of understand a little bit better how to purchase the seeds and what you need to look at and what you need to know and how to count it and how does it work. And we also did with the Kurt Royer, who managed this site kind of podcast where we talk about seed and farming. So you can also hear it. It's 40 minutes podcast where I respond a lot of questions about farming. So maybe if I don't answer some question here today, you will find them there.
And with that being said, I've also done just over 200 interviews with different executives in the industry on our YouTube channel. They're all informative interviewing an executive. We get into some very scientific stuff on some. We talk about distribution on some, but there's a huge variety of all different topics on my YouTube channel that you guys can access as well. I interview somebody every day I shouldn't say every day, Monday through Thursday at 10 a.m. We go live on Facebook. There's podcasts, and they are time stamped. So it makes it searchable if you have certain topics you're looking for and things like that. It is all on our YouTube channel. So it's a great resource. Other than that, thank you guys very much for joining. I really, really appreciate you. Like I said, I will stay on as you guys all fall off, but Hana, I can't say thanks enough for your time today. I know that it's
pleasure.
Yes, I really, really appreciate you. Okay, you guys, reach out at any time, holler at Michelle or I, look for the email. It will come from MailChimp in the next day or two. So watch your spam mail. Sometimes I know it sneaks in there, but other than that, don't hesitate to reach out. Okay.